When I throw it up. Start twerking like Miley. Twerking like Miley.
Hello everybody, welcome to RWBY Volume 3 Reactions. Today, on this episode, we got a lot. We have the opening animation for Volume 3, the official trailer for it, and the World of Remnant series that comes with Volume 3. So I am super stoked, guys. In the last season, or volume of RWBY Volume 2, a lot of stuff happened. The very start of it was kind of slow, but you know what? They picked up right where they left off. We got to a part where Cinder and Emerald and Mercury all show up at the school. So immediately right there, throwing red flags, something's going to go down. And then they had the big dance where Cinder and RWBY got into a little fight at the very top of the CCT for some reason, which is still kind of unknown what she did. I'm assuming we'll find out sometime, hopefully. But, yeah. And then they all signed up to go on a mission to go out to an area where there was a large Grim invasion or Grim presence. And they cleared the Grim out, and then RWBY fell into the hole and ended up where the White Fang was out there in a hideout. And then they took a train to the city that was loaded with bombs and shit. And they pretty much led Grim to the city where the train was fenced off or walled off from the tunnels, and then we had a big fight scene at the end of RWBY Volume 2, and that was pretty much how it ends right there. And then we had that really amazing sneak peek of at the very end of Yang and this mysterious person in red coming face to face, and Yang asked who she was, takes out the mask, and immediately you can tell it is her mother. Yang's mother, who we don't know the name of yet, but I'm assuming we'll also find out here soon. But anyway, you guys, without further ado, let's just jump right into the RWBY opening animation for Volume 3, and so on. And yeah, let's do it, guys. Nice little pianos. I've heard this song before, I think. Yep. Who's that? And who's that? Cool. Alright, this is the official trailer.
Ruby Rose. What is an adorable girl such as yourself doing at a school designed to train warriors?
I want to be a huntress.
You want to slay monsters?
They're supposed to be the defenders of the world.
Grim invasions, violent extremists, a destructive sociopath.
We should be looking forward to a fight with actual guidelines and not, well,
murderers.
You sent me to get intel on our enemy. And I'm telling you, our enemy is here.
So then, what would you suggest we do?
I suggest we find our guardian. There's no telling when their next move will be.
Now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Welcome to the final festival tournament.
Ooh.
Let's give the crowd a good fight.
Wow. Alright, so this will be a really good season then. This is RWBY Volume 3, World of Remnant, Huntsman.
Huntsmen and Huntresses, the best and brightest warriors of Remnant, ranking higher than Kingdom Police and even military in terms of strength and skill. The occupation was established alongside the Huntsman academies after the Great War, with the hope of creating elite warriors whose sole purpose would be to combat the creatures of Grimm. Beacon Academy was founded in Vale, Haven founded in Mistral, Shade founded in Vacuo, and Atlas founded in the now-defunct Kingdom of Mantle. These institutions accepted graduates of primary combat schools who showed enough promise and tenacity to not only battle the world's deadliest creatures, but also protect their fellow man. For this reason, trainees are grouped into teams, ensuring the continual development of communication, empathy, and teamwork. Traits that are vital to any guardian of peace. As an additional precaution to maintaining peace, the founders of the academies believe that their graduates should be kept separate from Kingdom allegiance. Once finished with their training, huntsmen and huntresses are free to choose who they work for, as well as what kind of work they will do through the use of mission boards. Allying with a particular kingdom or village is entirely up to the individual. However, Atlas Academy has come under increasing amounts of scrutiny for the indoctrination of military lifestyle upon its students, pressuring them to enlist in the Atlas military special operatives
but I don't know who that is.
Every academy has its own methods of teaching, but the end result is the same. Huntsmen and huntresses ready to make their own paths. Some will stay together as a team, some will move on to work alone. But all are expected to serve humanity.
There's RWBY. That's cool.
And never succumb to the darkness.
That's cool. I'm just gonna fast forward through all these parts here, guys. Let's try and a little bit quicker on us. This is RWBY Volume 3, World of Remnant, Cross-Continent Transmit System. So this is the CCT.
Throughout the years, the world of Remnant has seen hundreds of technological advances that have changed society. The most influential of all of them being the Cross-Continental Transmit System. Prior to the invention of the CCTS, long-range communication was extremely limited. The discovery and development of radio technology allowed for communication within the boundaries of most kingdoms. But communication with other parts of the world was restricted to the physical delivery of messages. With every alternative form of communication that was proposed, there seemed to be the perfect obstacle. The destructive nature of the creatures of Grimm severely limited the reliability of ground-based technologies. The concept of relay satellites orbiting around the planet was promising. Unfortunately, modern man has yet to make the technological advancements required to achieve spaceflight, as all known dust types lose their power as they begin to leave Remnant's atmosphere. Eventually, it was the people of Atlas, the world's leader in science and technology, that developed the cross-continental transmit system. It was revolutionary. Like radio, signals were sent and received wirelessly, though the content of these transmissions were not nearly as limited. Audio, video, images, and text were all capable of transmission, and eventually an entire online web of information was at mankind's fingertips. Currently, the system is supported by 4 primary relay towers, each located within a safeguarded area of the kingdoms. These towers allow for wireless communication within a kingdom through the use of devices such as scrolls. Signals become less reliable the farther a user travels from the CCT tower. And although smaller support towers do exist outside of kingdoms, they are constantly at risk of destruction by the creatures of Grimm. Shortcomings aside, for the first time in history, digital transmissions between kingdoms were possible through the use of slightly more advanced devices, typically found in homes and CCT centers. The cross-continental transmit system has and will continue to advance the progression of mankind. However, if one of the 4 towers is taken offline, the entire network fails with it. A slight inconvenience during routine maintenance, but to be honest, I find the limitation somewhat poetic. No one voice is louder than the others, and no voice may be silenced without the rest. If the people of Remnant are to speak, then they shall do so together.
That kind of seems like a flawed plan to do it that way. If you think about it. You knock one tower out, communication for the entire world is down. Kind of flawed. This is RWBY Volume 3 World of Remnant, the 4 Maidens. The Maidens, that's weird. I don't know what the Maidens are.
Deep in the forests of Remnant, beside a great and mighty river, stood the small, fragile home of a cold, frail man. A lone wizard. Hidden from the dangers and distractions of the world, the wizard seldom had visitors. But on this day, as he peered out his window, his gaze fell upon a young maiden. Calmly she sat beneath his tree, in a state of absolute tranquility. When the wizard demanded an explanation, the maiden simply replied, "My name is Winter. I am on a journey, and I am waiting for my sisters." With that, she closed her eyes and sat in silence. The wizard told himself the girl was a fool, but the longer she sat, the more he wished to share in the serenity the young maiden enjoyed. In time, he grew tired and decided to close his eyes as well, thinking on this strange predicament. Upon opening his eyes, the wizard was befuddled to find that a second maiden had appeared beneath his tree, cheerful and spry, with a basket of fruit and flowers. When he asked for an explanation, the girl simply replied, "My name is Spring. I'm on a journey, and I am waiting for my sisters." To show her gratitude for his reluctant hospitality, the girl retrieved a handful of seeds from her basket and planted them in the wizard's garden. The old hermit could hardly believe his eyes as the maiden turned what was once a mere pile of dirt and manure into a beautiful garden from which life would surely blossom. It's likely he would have gazed for hours, were it not for the unfamiliar laughter he heard from beneath his tree. A young woman with a warm smile now stood beside the 2 maidens. The wizard begged her to introduce herself, to which she happily responded, "My name is Summer. I am on a journey, and I am waiting for my sister." Of course, thought the wizard. But another chirp of laughter left the old man perplexed. What in the world was so funny? As it turned out, it was him. The new arrival found the wizard's insistence on staying indoors so very amusing. Why choose to view the world through a small window when the door leading out to it was right at his side? It was a compelling argument, and after only a moment of brief hesitation, the wizard left his home and stepped outside. The warmth of the sun brought with it a surge of energy and life, and soon the wizard wasn't feeling much like himself anymore. He was feeling much better. As the day drew to a close, the maidens and the wizard all settled down and prepared a feast. Winter set the table. Spring supplied the crops. Summer prepped the meal, and the wizard was the happiest he'd been in ages. But in all the excitement, he nearly failed to notice the delicate woman that now stood beneath his tree.
Fall.
He smiled and beckoned her to join them, asking only for her name. "My name is Fall," she replied softly. "I am on a journey and am here to meet my sisters. Who are you?" "Me?" the wizard wondered. "Well, I am but an old hermit. I have lived in these woods alone for centuries, and I'm afraid my story is not very interesting, as I have no one to love and nothing to my name." The eldest sister looked up at all that surrounded them. "But sir, do you not see? You have so much." It was true. With their help, it was now clear to see that the wizard had everything he could ever need. He was grateful, but a question lingered in his mind. "Why me?" he asked. "Why did the four of you choose to open my eyes, to share with me your gifts? Why am I so special?" The four sisters looked to one another, perplexed. Finally, the eldest spoke. "I beg your pardon, sir, but we did not do these things for you because you were special. We do what we can for everyone, because we are able." The old wizard was at a loss. Never in his years had he come across such kindness. It was in that moment that he knew what should be done. The wizard summoned his magic, every ounce he could muster, and bestowed it upon the sisters. He smiled. "Take this gift and know now that you are able to do so much more." Now, armed with the elements, the very powers of nature, and the unimaginable magic of the wizard, the four maidens, winter, spring, summer, and fall, promised to carry onward with their journey, using their gifts to aid others, just as they had aided him. One by one, the sisters left, but before they did, they made one final promise. They promised to return each and every year to visit their dear friend.
Okay, so each of the maidens are the seasons. But what's so special about them? I don't know. This is Volume 3, World of Remnant 1. The Vital Festival Tournament.
It all began, as most things do, with war. The kingdoms of the world had been locked in a violent struggle for years, but eventually the Great War of Remnant came to an end on the small island of Vital. It was here that humanity's leaders chose peace over bloodshed and constructed the future of modern society, establishing new laws, new academies, and new traditions. The Vital Festival was created to serve as a celebration of peace between the kingdoms. Every 2 years, a kingdom would be chosen to open its doors to the world, allowing citizens from every corner of Remnant to meet and indulge in one another's cultures. The pinnacle of this event was the Vital Festival Tournament. After the newly formed Huntsman academies proved to be a success, the Vital Festival Tournament was designed to test the strengths of the kingdom's warriors in a safe and friendly competitive environment, a wonderful method in which to ensure that the world's huntsmen would never settle for mediocrity, but would constantly strive to become the absolute best they could be. As the skills of the huntsmen grew, so did the games. And in time, it was decided that the tournament would need a stage equal in greatness to that of its competitors. Amity Coliseum was the culmination of the Four Kingdoms' efforts, a technological marvel and a shining symbol of harmony, capable of making the journey to all the kingdoms of Remnant. It's true that all of this began with war, but it is peace that has served to shepherd humanity on its ascension to greatness. May we never stray from that path.
Well, that was good. All right, so that marks all of the. It should be all of them. Yep. That marks all of the Volume 3 stuff to watch before Volume 3 itself, which will be starting right after this. Just a couple things before we get started. Wow. We learned a lot. At least I did. I learned that the four maidens, the four seasons, essentially, are these four women that had magical powers. Excuse me, have magical powers, and we're not exactly sure what they can do, but I'm certain that'll be touched on sometime soon. But yeah, wow, that was a good episode, or good episodes of learning. We learned more about the Vital Festival, which from what season 2 ending was showing was pretty much it's gonna be, they're gonna be focusing on this Vital Festival. They've been talking it since the start, so it's obviously something important that they'll be focusing on in this season. And the fact that we learned that this all began with war, and now it's a celebration of some sorts of them being able to test their skills in a safe environment, which is awesome. That's awesome that they have that. We also learned about, just in general, the Huntsman, the CCT. We get to learn about all that. And I'm definitely excited for this season. I think it'll be this volume, I think it'll be really good. So anyway, guys, without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Enjoy. Have fun. Bye, guys.